Okay, so in the last video, I demonstrated how in Doc 2 and Doc 3, this same element, the nav item, is displaying differently. In both of these documents, we are pulling in the style sheet, the external style sheet called basic.css, but in Doc 3, we've added this style section, an embedded style sheet for nav item, and that nav item color of gray is overriding the nav item rule of red that is coming from the style sheet. So what that is a demonstration of the cascade. So what we need to do is we need to go into a little bit more conversation about the cascade, because it's really important to your ability to be able to control your designs by understanding the CSS Cascade. So in the CSS Cascade, the idea of cascade, if you think about waterfall, a waterfall kind of cascades over a series of rocks, making its way down to the bottom. So following that idea, the first level of the cascade is the default. That's applied by the browser. So whatever browser you're using has got in a built-in set of CSS rules that allow you to see an H1 as bold and larger than other. There's a whole series of rules that are inherently built into the browser. And so in order to overrule those, any of the other places can overrule those. So that's the main idea here, is that the further you get down the cascade, the items closer to the final element, which is down at the bottom, overrule anything that has come to before. So the default browser looks one way. When you add the external style sheet like we did in document 2, then the rules from that apply. Now what we did in document 3 is we added the style in an embedded or an internal style sheet. And what that did is it overruled the nav item that was listed in the external. So it picks up the rules here, it continues the rules here, picks up any new rules, and these rules override anything that were picked up at the previous level. Same thing here. Picks up the new rules that are applied, and it overrides any rules that were written for the same elements in the previous level. And then inline is the last one, and we'll take a look at that in just a minute. That overrules everything else because it's closest to the content. So understanding this cascade will allow you to control the different elements in the way that where you have control of your website, rather than, say, the browser having control of your website. Now the last section that we're talking about is the inline styles. Now we have to be careful about using inline styles, and really you should only use inline styles when you have a single element that needs to be encoded in a certain way on a certain page, because it loses the advantages of both the embedded style sheets and the external style sheets, because it goes to, this is only applied in one place. And so if you don't use it judiciously, you end up doing a lot more coding than is necessary by using either embedded or external style sheets. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and make an example of how I can add an inline style that will overwrite both the external style sheet and the internal style sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this second list item in the nav, and I'm going to add a rule that applies only to it. So I'm adding it inside the li tag, and you'll notice I still have the class of nav item in there, but I'm also going to add the style, and its style equals quotation marks, and I'm going to do background color colon, let's do orange, and then in this case it goes semicolon close quotation marks. So when I come over here, you'll see that the background color for just that one element is orange. That is overriding the style, which is in the embedded style sheet for nav item, which is the background color of gray, and it's also overruling the style in the basic CSS document for nav item with a background color of red. And so that demonstrates the cascade. If we took out that style for nav item in here, it wouldn't make any difference because it's being overridden. If we likewise took out this, and I'll just comment that out so you can see, it doesn't make any difference because that's being overridden by the inline style, because the inline style is further down the cascade, and so it's naturally going to overrule it. So that's sort of a quick dirty summary of how the cascade works. The closer to the individual element where the rule is, the more powerful it's going to be. It's going to override those things that are further away.